All right, here we go.
We are doing this
Inaugural broadcast of
shit. Hell yeah.
the Undercurrent.
I'm drinking white girl beer. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking whiskey and Coke.
Hell yeah. Bring it.
Cheap whiskey and a Coke.
You know
Cheers.
what? It doesn't matter how much the whiskey is if it's in a
No.
Coke. Cheers. Clink.
Mm, mm. Clink.
Actually, I kind of feel like all whiskey is pretty gross.
Yeah,
Honestly. Not my
it's not your
jam.
thing.
Beer,
Not your jam.
wine.
So, not your jam, but what is your jam, and who are you?
That feels like a segue.
Right? Doesn't it?
Are you trying to segue me into the show? Because I just want to talk about booze.
Not too contrived, is it? We could keep talking about booze if you want. But eventually,
booze.
well, there's the link to Pete Hegseth. That's some booze related.
That's true. See,
news.
It was topical.
Booze news.
Try to steer me away from the topics.
Steering you right into it.
I know. Look what you did.
All right. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Like to all the people that are watching, right? All the zero of subscribers that we have.
Yeah, good day to all of our amazing
good day.
Subscribers and supporters. And thank you for all your support.
Smash that like button.
That's right. Smash that like button and subscribe, please.
Hit the bell.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you gonna introduce yourself?
I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna introduce you. I'm gonna introduce you.
Oh, you're gonna introduce me? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is my friend Jeffrey. Are we doing last names? Let's not do last names.
Okay, we don't.
Let's remain anonymous.
Okay, I can do that.
Anonymous members of the internet. This is my friend Jeffrey. We've been friends for 10 years, almost.
10
years.
A decade.
We met on a dating app.
We did. Originally, we did.
Like in 2014.
10 whole years.
Mm-hmm. But we've never really lived. Cheers again.
Cha-ching.
We've never really lived close together. We live closer now than we used to.
True, much. You're a hour flight away, if that. Probably.
Yeah, it used to be several hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's an improvement. I can't stop
Chicago
talking long
days.
enough to take a drink. Chicago. Back in my Utah days.
That's right.
Not anymore. But I think one of the things that we reconnected on after we lost touch for a while. Oh shit, my phone is making noises. Something that we reconnected on after we lost touch, like we did occasionally, was 2016, Bernie Sanders.
Yes, Bernie Sanders brought us back together for sure.
And I think both of us at that time were kind of reassessing our politics or kind of forming our politics based on,
or reforming.
Honestly, 8 really disappointing years of Obama.
Yeah, lackluster, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, not in every way, but in most ways.
Not in every way.
So I think since this is our first show, I'm Kristen, by the way.
Oh, hi, Kristen.
I never introduced myself. I just introduced you.
Hello, Kristen.
I'm the random red-haired white lady.
There you go.
But yeah, no, let's kind of go into who we are, what we believe, since this is our first show, and what got us here. Because it's a windy, fucked up road for me.
It sure is.
And probably for you too.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us grew up with the politics that we have now.
No.
Did you?
I grew up in conservative West Michigan, Lower Peninsula, folks, which is right. Let's see if this is. Oh wait, I'm looking at it backwards. Hold on. Yeah, I'm looking at it backwards. So if I do it like that, here's Detroit, right? And I grew up on the other side of West Michigan, and Chicago's around over here. Something like that. I guess I could do that. Could I do that? Yeah, I could do that. I don't know. It's weird with the camera. Anyway, I grew up on the west side of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan, which is a very, very conservative area. So, yes, I grew up conservative with conservative beliefs, and but never really fully understanding what the politics meant. I always have gone with more of a gut feeling about politics in general. I've always been kind of a news junkie, but when it came to understanding politics, I didn't pay as much attention as I do nowadays. Back then, growing up, uh, I I just whatever the vibe was. Like I voted for George W. Bush. He was the first time I voted, or George Senior, George Bush, because my family did. Everybody around me did. I lived in a conservative area, and I just thought, well, sounds good to me. But I didn't.
Did you know the meaning of the word conservative? Did you know like what the policy positions were? Did you have any
No,
concept of that at all at the time?
none at all, none at all. I did not understand that stuff at all.
Was
At that
it
time,
was it just sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Was it discussed in your house? Did your parents ever talk politics?
No, we
Did you
didn't.
have an
Not.
idea of what they believed, or you just knew like what their party affiliation was?
I just knew they were conservative Republicans, and then there was liberal Democrats, and I knew that they always didn't agree on stuff, especially when we went to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving, and people would argue about politics when they knew they shouldn't be. But it wasn't like it is today. There were heated debates and discussions, but not like it is today. The division we're seeing in our country now. But yeah, I didn't really understand the concepts of it until much later. And then for a while there, I thought I might be a libertarian, but I didn't understand what that meant either. And then that's really kind of when I went. I had a good friend back in the Chicago area who explained pretty much what that means, and that eventually libertarianism leads to feudalism, basically,
Exactly.
down the road. And I
Because it
was
does.
once he explained that, I was like, oh, I see. And then that sort of opened my eyes to other political ideals and philosophies. And I realized, yes, I am. Well, I didn't know if I was a Democrat, but I knew I was, excuse me, progressive. And I've always leaned in that direction. I want to make sure that we educate our populace. I want to make sure that we help the poor stop being poor. I want to make sure children are fed. I want to make sure single parents get the help they need to take care of their children. I think all those things lead to a stronger country. Um, and I don't see any sign of that kind of help or morality from the right. All they care about is saving a little zygote inside of a woman
Well, let's
and
be clear about that.
controlling their body.
They don't really care about that. It's something they can use to manipulate. I'm not talking
It's
about
control.
The rank and file do care about that. The rank and file
Yeah,
do
the rank and file
care
do,
about it.
but
The
but
ones with the actual power use that as a fear
that's just a
tactic
control.
to generate money, to generate power, to scare people. I mean, honestly, both sides have used abortion as that's not really what we're talking about, but both sides
Well,
have
no,
used
we're
it
not.
as a
We've
fundraiser, as
we've gotten off on a tangent,
I know. Here we go.
but
This is
yeah,
what I this is what I do.
yeah, that's okay.
I'm sorry. So wait, so where you grew up was
Excuse me, West Michigan.
too much bong rip.
That's yeah, maybe. I'll have another one
Was
in a
it
minute.
like suburban,
Yeah, very suburban, small town, suburban. Uh,
religious?
oh yeah, religious. I grew up in the church for
Which
sure.
church? Which
Not
church?
hardcore, not hardcore like Baptist. No, this is very conservative white church in West Michigan,
Like just
where
general Protestant?
no, well, of the Protestant, it was Wesleyan, which is named after John Wesley.
Okay,
But
I've heard of that guy.
we that's the church we ended up at when we eventually ended up in Spring Lake, Michigan. I'll give that
Okay.
away. I'll dox myself there. Um, but yeah, very small town. I think we had one token black family in the town, uh, or that went to our church or something like that. Very white, um, and super conservative. But yeah, a Wesleyan church, which I don't really know what the tenets of that are. But in West Michigan, you've got colleges like Hope College, where I went to college, which is a very religious school. Um, Dutch Reformed Church is there, ties, and then there's a couple others. There's like three other universities like that in Western Michigan. I can't think of the names of them right now, but we can always add them in later on a little flashing name thing,
Yeah, yeah.
but
But
yeah, very
I'm
conservative, very white, very reserved, and you don't get excited about things.
I'm surprised to hear that you guys were militant Republican in that area in that time period. Because I mean, what time
Well, it
period?
was not considered militant
Okay, but just
at the
that's
time.
what that was kind of just the general accepted.
Oh yeah,
The reason why I say it is
that's Amway
because,
country, baby.
well, isn't it Union country?
Not
And
really.
we're talking 70s and
Union country is
80s
Union
when the
country is
unions had power.
Union country is Detroit,
I mean,
West Michigan.
you were close to Detroit, right?
No, I'm on the other side of the state.
Oh, I'm just thinking about
Detroit's
your. I'm
down
thinking about
here.
your map. I don't. Detroit was on
Detroit's
there,
down
and you were
here.
on
I'm
there.
over here. It's a
Oh,
way,
okay,
way apart here. Way, long ways away. That's
okay.
3.5 hours drive. That's like from where I grew up to get to Chicago. Same amount
I'm
of
gonna.
space.
I'm gonna study
Except you
my
go around the lake.
Michigan geography before we meet again. How about
Oh
that?
yeah, you need to. It's a beautiful state. You'd love it. It's amazing, especially in
I've
the
never been
summer.
there. Have I been there? No, I've never been to Michigan.
Oh, you should check it out. It's fantastic.
I should.
But West Michigan, very conservative. Betsy DeVos, our former Secretary of Education,
Yeah.
she is of the Van Andel family, or no, DeVos's, but wait, it's DeVos and Van Andel.
They're private school moguls, right?
Amway. Oh yeah, and they're
Oh, are they
Amway. Well,
Amway?
they're Amway.
Yuck.
Yes, that's why I said. Where's that? I
No.
come from Amway country.
Okay,
That's
I didn't realize DeVos was Amway though.
oh yeah, she's married in to the Van Andels, I believe. But so yeah, that's where I grew up, and but I wouldn't be the liberal progressive guy I am today if I hadn't gone out into the world and lived. I went after flunking out of college. Well, actually getting kicked out. I did. I did fail many of my classes, but they had to force me out. By
You had
God.
a good time, right? You had a good
Oh, I had
time.
had a great
I mean,
time.
you're still in contact with your fraternity bros.
Oh, my fraternity bros. Yes, my brothers. In fact, I'm going to see some of them in February probably for going to go meet with them and go down to Taos for an annual ski trip they do. But I don't think I'm going to do any skiing.
Oh shit! I was just gonna say, are you gonna ski?
Probably not. And it's Scott, my friend Scott. He and I are probably just going to be at the homestead, making the meals, and then when the boys come back, we're going to be the housewives, I guess. I don't know. And if you want to use stereotypical misogynistic
Well, I mean, we could
stereotypes.
go into that a little bit. I mean, you are a professional cook. You've been in
I
food
am a
most of
professional
your
cook.
career, and I can vouch for it. It
Yes.
is
My God.
spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
made
am
me some
amazing.
fantastic food.
I am
You are amazing.
Thank you. I'll drink to that.
I gotta open another beer. I already finished one.
Uh-oh.
I know.
One down.
I'm gonna be like burping on the stream.
One down, 10 to go. Wait, no.
I brought it. I only brought 3 in here. I might have to get
Oh,
a
there you
little bit
go.
more.
Oh, maybe. That's I think that's one of the things that first brought me to podcasts in the first place. Listening to Mark Maron, who you did too,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and just the conversational tone, people talking. It's just nice to hear that, and people getting in depth on on topics. And what I like about and I've always been attracted to comedians because I'm a guy who kind of wears my heart on my sleeve once I get to know you. Otherwise, I'm a cold bastard. But I'm definitely, I definitely like that kind of stuff, and what I like about comedians is they just bear it all. Whoops, they rip it open their hearts and they just say, "This is me," and they talk about their addictions and their whatever is going on, and as they're sitting talking about it with another comedian who's reciprocating, you get some growth sometimes, which is really cool to see. And I sometimes they talk about topics that affect me personally as well, and it helps me, I think, in my own mental health probably to hear people, just having these honest conversations like this.
Well, comedians are
Truth
Mostly
tellers.
all well, they're the product of trauma.
A lot of them, yeah. Not all,
Right.
but many, yes, for
Most of,
sure.
yeah, a lot of that comes from trauma and processing and just the absurdity of
Right?
the
Well,
ridiculous shit that we have to put up with and live with from day to day.
yeah, look at Stephen Colbert. He's got the Late Show. I mean, he's kind of the penultimate, or not the penultimate. He's kind of the ultimate sort of idea of that. His dad died when he was like 10, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it destroyed him. His dad and one or two of his brothers or some shit. Just crazy, great loss in the family. So he was the youngest, but he became the little, showman for mom to keep her happy. And that's kind of where he got a lot of his stuff. So
Wait,
I've
what
heard
happened to his?
say.
I wasn't aware of that. What happened to his family?
Oh, his dad and one of his brothers or two of his brothers. I'm not sure. You could Google it if you want, but they died in some kind of accident. And
That's horrifying.
yeah, and then he had three other siblings or so, but still, that's just tragic. So, and then he's this, comedian, showman,
Yeah.
running the late show. So definitely,
I'm not a huge fan of his more recent work, honestly, but
no,
to each their own.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure he's a fine person.
I have some friends that just saw him a couple of months back. They were in New York for a little trip, and they had tickets. And I got to see him up in the balcony, which is cool. I did a
Oh,
little freeze frame,
nice.
yeah, on one of the clips on YouTube, so I could see him sitting right on the edge of the balcony. It was cool. So, but anyway, we've gone off onto another tangent.
No, it's
Let's see.
fine. That's what
Oh
this is
yeah,
supposed
yeah.
to be.
No,
That's
no,
what
I'm not worried.
it's all. It's all good. It's all
I'm
good.
not worried about it. I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out where we were because I'm the one that's smoking. So
I'm drinking.
somebody's
You're
got
you're smoking. You're smoking and you're drinking.
yeah, but that the drinking does not affect your short-term memory loss. So
It doesn't.
I don't think so. Not like the
Oh yeah,
marijuana,
not like the reefer.
the hooch, as they
Don't want to
say.
mess with no reefer addicts.
No more reefer addicts.
Well,
Oh,
do we
excuse me.
want to? Do we want to? Oh, bless you.
Thank you. I got it. That's from that last bong hit. So I'll hold off for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine for now.
I'm gonna drink some more beer. I'm starting
Feeling
to feel
good.
buzz. Starting to feel it.
I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling it. No doubt about it. I had to clean these glasses a little bit. They're getting a little crusty. Crusty. Okay, so
Yes.
that's me.
That's you. Well,
And
I mean, where do you shake out now? I mean,
I would say I'm progressive liberal. I guess.
are you aligned with the Democratic Party? Aligned with any particular politician?
I vote Democratic
Like,
because
what
I
are
only see them as the party that is affecting any kind of change
what are your policy
for the
positions?
good for the
Like,
people.
what are your ideals? Like,
Socially liberal.
what are the hills that you're going to die on? Policy wise.
Definitely uh, a woman's autonomy over her own body and any person's autonomy, but especially women. So bringing back Roe v. Wade or some form of it to make sure that's the law of the land, enshrine it in the Constitution if we could. If we, I'd say hell, I'd die on. Freedom of speech. I mean, without that, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So
throw us in jail.
There's people in countries where you could get thrown in jail for this. Yeah, definitely. So,
well, and let's not pretend like it's perfect here either, because
of course not. We've got a lot of problems.
No, I'm talking about just speech in general. I mean, we got issues.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Some pretty gross rhetoric going around about free speech from people who claim to be in favor of it.
Oh yeah.
But only when they agree with it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's another hill I could die on.
Fascism.
Yeah, I'm against fascism. I'm pro democracy. Oh yeah, I'm against fascism.
You get a gold star.
Thank you. I'm pro democracy. But I'm more like Bernie. I'm a big fan of Bernie. So democratic socialism, something where, if I'm not saying the state should run the means of production, but I am saying that, say, I want to go into a business for myself, start up my business, and then recruit people to work with me, and then get them to uh, turn the company into a employee-owned uh, endeavor that takes in the feedback of everyone that works there, but they'd have to buy in, and be a part of it. But if they want to, then
like worker co-ops.
Yeah, like a worker co-op type thing, and make that more. I mean, you can do that sort of thing now, but it seems like we could do it more. If people wanted to, because I think I would do that, just because, and you spread the responsibility around. Everyone has some kind of duty that they take care of within the collective. I mean, I know that's a evil socialist ideal, but I like it. I like the idea of it. So yeah, I like those European countries that work with democratic social. What's going on? Is there an earthquake there in Vegas?
No,
What's happening?
I messed up my camera.
Oh my God! Everything was shaking.
I know.
We were about to die.
So my camera's on a tripod right in front of my desk, and I accidentally kicked it.
I see.
And I fucked up my whole situation. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, worker co-ops I think they're the answer to a lot of problems, because in the capitalist world, you have the owner class and the worker class that are always at odds, right? And if the power swings too broadly in either direction, it creates instability.
Exactly.
But with worker co-ops, like, everybody in theory is going to benefit from the success of the company. So everybody working there is an owner and has a stake in it, and therefore you don't have the work ethic issues that sometimes come up with unions.
Exactly, and most corporations
you also don't have a tyrannical, management and CEO.
Right, and most corporations, like I found out that the corporation that I work for supported Donald Trump financially.
Well, corporations kind of support everybody. They play.
They do support everybody, but they only supported him. They didn't spread the love. They just.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
I would have thought. I'm not going to say where you work, but I would have thought otherwise of them.
I would have too, because they're a very people-centric corporation.
That's disappointing.
I know. I was disappointed.
Oh.
But it's a good deal for me right now. I won't be there forever, so no big deal.
No, because you're moving up in the world.
By God, I got a podcast with my best friend.
Yay!
Woo! Cheers!
Cheers! Have a drink.
All right, you got any other questions for me? Political, or we worldview, philosophy, whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, do you have anything else along those lines that you?
I grew up, as I said, in very conservative West Michigan, very Christian. But after I traveled, after getting the boot from school, a year or two after that, I went to Yellowstone National Park. So I broadened my horizons. I saw the world a little bit. And I had a good friend that had been there the summer before as a bus washer, and then he was going back to be a bus driver. And he said, "You're not doing anything here," and I wasn't. I was just hanging out with my friends and partying. And he said, "Come out to Yellowstone and do it out there. It's fucking amazing." And I said, "All right." So I went out and I loved it. And I went home for a year. And then I went back again.
Did you work for the actual Forest Service, or were you working for like contractors?
I worked for one of the contractors that ran the hotels and the restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be a party, though, in the summertime, living there.
It was fantastic. You had dorm living, though. And, it had its ups and downs. But overall, it was a very positive experience and a lot of fun. And I broadened my horizons, and I did that for a few years. And then I was with a woman, and she was from Kansas, so I moved with her to Kansas. And then a couple years later, we broke up. And I lived in Kansas for 15 years. Met another woman, fell in love, knocked her up, as my mother said one day when I told her that I had knocked her up. And,
I find that to be such a gross term. But
yeah, my mom, a nice Christian, hardcore
Your
Christian
mom
lady.
said that. Your mom said that too.
My mom said that. Jeffrey, so you're telling me you've knocked up some hussy? She didn't say hussy, but
I cannot picture my mom saying that.
yeah, knocked her up, and we got married, and we had another kid, and we had 2 kids, and then I was a
Lovely
drunk,
children, by the way.
and I was a drunk. Cheers.
Cheers.
Um,
In moderation now, though.
In moderation now, yeah.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I couldn't handle it, and that was one of the big reasons that led to my divorce. And then she got a corporate job in Chicago, and so I went there. I cook, so I can work anywhere, basically. Um, and I went there, but I had a hard time because I was at my lowest point with my addictions, and that was rough for a while. And then
car accident,
I
right?
got in a
That's
very big
next.
car accident in 2011, and then after that, and I got back on my feet after 9 months. I went back to the kitchen, but that only lasted another year and a half till I got an infection, staph infection, because of my leg from the car accident. And then I was working for a corporation, cooking in a hospital, and then I was able to change jobs within the corporation. So I went to work for an office as a clerk, just driving the same amount of time and miles in the opposite direction, heading south instead of north. So that was okay.
What was your experience like dealing with the health system, both like the clinical side and the insurance side? Because the accident wasn't your fault, correct?
No, a girl pulled out in front of me. I had the right of way.
Did you have any issues getting things paid for? Insurance is denying coverage, taking away
Overall, no, because
treatments.
the young girl who pulled out in front of me, her father owned a business that had a umbrella policy that covered everything he owned, personal or otherwise, or business, and that covered it all. But I had good insurance through the hospital, or through the company I work for that owned the hospital. They're a healthcare company out of Chicago and Wisconsin now. That's a whole nother story. Income inequality. Um, um, Dealing with the insurance company, I was in inpatient rehab for 3 months, and that was hard because I was in a wheelchair, and they had to, teach me how to walk and move and do everything with my legs again. And but yeah, I was on the phone with my lawyer almost daily, and I was on the phone with uh, the insurance company, if not daily, every other day, talking about this procedure or that procedure, because I was constantly going from at least once a week uh, to be looked at by either my internal medicine doctor or the what do you call the bone doctors?
I don't know, like an orthopedic surgeon.
There you go, orthopedic.
Is that
and
it?
then orthopedic, yeah, I think so. Someone will tell us if we're wrong.
If anyone's watching this.
Yeah, so I had to do all those things, and to do all those things, I always had to get some kind of approval from my main doctor. Luckily, all these people were in the same area, and it was close to where the hospital was where I worked, and close to where I had my accident, actually. So, lucky for me, that worked out fairly well. But securing the facility for the inpatient time, the 3 months there, that was a bitch, trying to find the right place. I looked at like 4 different places before this place popped up. And this place was, they had 2 different wings. One wing was long-term care for people that were going to be there for the rest of their lives. And then one was short-term care for people like me or older folks who were getting a hip replacement or knee replacements, or, other people that got into an accident, that sort of thing. I met a woman there who got into an accident at an intersection, was flung off of her motorcycle forward into the middle of the intersection, landed, broke her pelvis. So, I mean, people that were pretty messed up. And I met a guy that was around my age who had MS, and he's the guy, he's probably dead now, but he had MS, which of course is you're going down eventually.
Oh yeah.
And he was
It's
already
just
in a
a
chair.
spiral.
He could speak still. That was fine, but not a lot of movement. And he used one of those wheelchairs that he would breathe into to move around. And yeah,
Wait,
so
that's a thing? I've never heard of that.
oh really? Yeah, that's a thing. And it was kind of elevated as well, so he could almost look you in the eye, like face to face.
Okay.
So but he was going to be there the rest of his life, and that experience really also broadened my horizons to the suffering of life for a lot of people and dealing with insurance, private insurance that is our primary healthcare system in this country, and and people die because of it.
Oh yeah.
CEO Brian Thompson,
Tens of thousands of people
yeah,
die every year.
32% from United Healthcare, right?
Yeah. So luckily
Denial rate.
luckily your accident happened after Obamacare. Because I
Yeah.
mean, without that, I mean,
Well,
every time you went to the doctor after that, they could just be like, "Oh, pre-existing condition, you got in a car accident, we don't have to cover jack shit." Um, so at least, I mean, as flawed as Obamacare is, and it is very flawed.
at least it does have that provision in it.
I mean, that's one of the few things that the government has done that helps regular people in a very long time. So
Yeah.
yeah, so at least there's that. At least you can still go to the doctor without having every single thing denied because of the car accident that wasn't even your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean,
But now I live in Colorado.
they would love to go back to that. They would love to go back to being able to deny you all
Of
of your
course they would.
continue to collect your premiums by all means, but then
Well,
deny everything because oh sorry, you were in a car accident
private
15,
insurance
15
companies
years
aren't
ago.
in the business of paying out claims. They're in the business
Well,
of collecting premiums.
yeah. Well, the American healthcare system is not in the business of healthcare.
No,
It's in the
not at
business
this
of
point in
business. It's in the
time.
business of business.
It's in the business of business. But
It's not about. It's we're getting into it, aren't we?
yeah, we are.
Are we doing this now? We gonna do
I
this?
guess no. Well, we haven't gotten into yours thing yet.
I
This is
know,
another.
but
This is a tangent. We have to get into you,
this is
honey.
juicy. This is juicier than
Oh
me.
yeah, we'll get there.
I'm pretty juicy. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
Oh my god. Get it together, girl.
I'm a little I'm a
You're a little
bit
tipsy.
a little tipsy. I'm gonna drink some.
All right, so you're uh I think you've grilled me enough, right? Unless you got
Yes.
something else.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Do we want to discuss why I'm on the left side of the screen?
Kristen is on the left side of the screen because
Well, I believe that you believe that I'm more left than you. Is that correct?
I believe that. Don't you believe that?
On a lot of things, yeah. I think I probably am.
Well, there you go.
But I mean, we both kind of spawned out of that Bernie Sanders movement.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In 2016, and
that was inspiring time.
It was because the whole entire left was united, and you had the entire working class. You had unions. I mean, a lot of the people that supported Trump this year were part of that coalition.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, they're working class people who feel like the government and society has left them behind.
Right.
And Trump was the one. I mean, he's obviously not going to do anything about it.
No.
But he was the one speaking to their pain, and all. That's all it really took.
Bernie was too, but he didn't have the backing of the Democratic Party.
No, he got torpedoed 2 times.
Yeah, they're both populists, but speaking to different, demographics and different ideals. Whereas Trump was speaking to fear and hatred, Bernie was speaking to love and hope and joy. And
Bernie was punching up, and he was identifying the actual cause of the problem.
Exactly.
He wasn't scapegoating people with no money and no power.
The billionaires and the multi-billionaires that control this country.
Yeah, look at these immigrants coming over the border with no money and no power. Look at these gay people and trans people with no money and no power. Those people are the reasons that your life sucks.
Right.
And
divide and conquer. That's been the way of the rich forever, basically. I mean,
it is. And the crazy thing is, it's always if you notice the issues that on right or left, I'm not even gonna say right or left, Democrat or Republican. the issues that we're allowed to actually discuss and disagree on and be passionate about are the ones that don't threaten power.
Yeah.
Other than Bernie, you never hear a politician talking about corporations and billionaires and the way that the deck is stacked, because it's just not allowed for the most part. I mean, you talk about cancel culture, but
unless you're talking about like AOC or the Squad or people in the same sort of people that aren't taking corporate.
Yeah, but they don't even say it that much anymore. I mean, they do occasionally. Elizabeth Warren will have.
They may not say it, but at least they're not taking the money, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, at least they're not.
You think they need to be more vocal?
I do. I mean, you remember AOC's campaign, right?
Sure.
I mean, the candidate she was is a lot different than the elected official that she is. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, that happens with all of them, I think, to some degree.
I know, but should we just accept that?
No, but I mean, how far off is it? I don't think she's doing bad things.
This is
this is a thing between you and me, is you are much more critical of the left than I am, and it's not that I don't want to be critical. It's just that maybe I'm not doing as much research as you are, and maybe I'm a little more trusting in general, because I feel like they have the. I mean, even the ones that take corporate money, they're doing more for the people than the Republicans ever have. Ever.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I guess I'm not a team player. I'm interested.
Oh, that's good to know.
I'm interested in policy. I'm interested in results.
But you don't want to be part of a team.
I'm not playing for a team. I'm not cheering for a team, because when you put your trust and your faith and all of your energy into a team or a candidate, you are always, and the Trump people have this awakening coming to them very, very soon, but you're always going to be disappointed. And that's a good segue into kind of where I come from politically.
Yeah.
If we want to get into that.
Let's go.
Are you interested?
Yes, I am. Okay. It's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, bring it, girl.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, I grew up also in a conservative home. And not only conservative, but like militantly Republican.
Yes.
I was following politics really closely from the time I was I don't know. You brought up George H.W. Bush. I was in junior high when that was going on, and I would draw pictures of Bush.
You're aging me now.
I know. I'm aging both of us.
That's right. But I'm old.
A little bit older than me. It's fine.
Excuse me.
It's fine. Age is a state of mind anyway.
Oh, yeah, totally.
If you live young, you'll stay young.
Exactly.
But no,
cheers to that.
Hell yeah. I'm going to drink. I'm almost done with 2 beers.
So you grew up very conservative, very militant.
I did. We were very Republican.
Very Republican.
I felt like Ronald Reagan was the only reason the world wasn't falling apart when I was young.
Ah, yes. And the great Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, seriously. I honestly believe that.
Everybody was happy.
I mean, I was a little kid. Yeah. But so then he's leaving office and here comes Bush, who was, in the mind of a 12-year-old, the extension of Ronald Reagan, because he was the vice president.
Exactly.
And so I was like drawing pictures in my little Trapper Keepers. Wow. And I would draw like campaign pictures and cartoons and whatever. And I was like all on board. Damn. And, all through school, like I always followed it. I was always passionate about it. It was always discussed in my house. It was never like a debate because no one ever disagreed, but it was something that was always on my radar and something that I always followed.
All right.
And I remember my first eye-opener in 1994, the first time I voted. See, I'm aging myself right now, too.
Oh, my God.
First time I voted, 1994. It was the year of Newt Gingrich and the contract with America.
Yes.
Is that what it was? Contract with America?
Contract with America, portrayed by the great Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, that's a great one. I'll have to reference that later.
Nice.
We'll put a link. That was my first link right up over here.
Yeah. That was my first time voting. I was listening to a lot of Rush Limbaugh at the time.
Yeah.
He was kind of
Rush.
He had his TV show, and
my brother was a Rush Limbaugh
radio show. Read the book.
Glenn Beck. Did you get into Glenn Beck?
Not yet. I mean, this we're talking like 90, 91, 92.
You were still an impressionable.
Oh wait, no. 94.
Young one.
94.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to G. Gordon Liddy. He was a thing at the time. He's dead now, right? Did he finally die?
I don't know if he died. Actually, I'm not sure.
Piece of shit.
Ask
Um,
Google. My Google's not working, so
yeah. Anyway, I think he's dead now. But yeah. I used to
could
listen to
be.
him
You know about the
and
match trick,
the match
the
trick.
the story.
No, out.
Well,
Don't.
he did. There's this famous story of him when he got on board with the plumbers and the fixers and everything during Watergate, and he was meeting with someone who was recruiting him, and uh, I can't remember who, Haldeman maybe, um, but he was asking him about his loyalty, and they're sitting in a restaurant, nice restaurant, with candle at the table, and to prove his loyalty, he just put his hand over the flame like this, over the candle, and just held it there until you could start to smell his skin.
That's
And he
disgusting.
didn't flinch, he didn't do nothing. That's what kind of a psycho that guy was.
This is Liddy.
Yeah,
Oh God, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That sounds like him. He's a
G.
freak.
Gordon. Yeah, he's a lunatic. I remember his radio show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty gross, actually. Very misogynistic.
Oh yeah,
For a
I believe it.
conservative, he talked about a lot of like porn watching and stuff,
Really?
which
Oh,
to
they
me,
do that.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
And the more
Um,
they rally against gays and they're anti-gay, you just know they're gay. They haven't come out
well,
yet.
there's a high percentage of that happens for sure.
Exactly, all the time. But
It's
we're
a
getting off track there.
projection, but no, the
Project
reason
much, honey?
yeah, the reason I brought that up is because that's the first time I voted, and I remember
I'm
being
moving.
so excited
Right.
when the Republicans won. I mean, they really cleaned house,
They fucking
and
kicked ass,
it
yeah.
had been 40 years that the Democrats had controlled Congress.
With Tip O'Neill at the helm for much of that time.
And I didn't
Remember
realize at the
Tip?
time. I remember the name. I would not have known much about.
He was a big dude from the East
Was
Coast.
it a guy? I
Big
was going to say, I
drinker,
didn't even know if it was a
and
guy or
a big nose. What?
I wouldn't even have known if it was a guy or a girl. I was guessing that it was a
Oh,
woman.
it was a man. Oh, they were all men back then. Pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah,
There was
that's
only like
true.
one or two women back in the 80s. I mean, that was when it was starting to change a little bit.
I'm talking 94.
Oh, 94. Yeah, it was more getting better. But yeah, they got rid of Tip.
Well, and what I didn't realize at the time when I voted, and I was so excited about the Republicans coming in, they were going to get all these policy positions through, line item veto, and I can't even remember what else it was.
I remember the line item veto.
I remember being like really excited about a lot of this stuff, and then they got in and they didn't do jack shit.
They never do.
And
they give tax breaks to the rich. Yeah, they give tax breaks to the rich.
Yeah.
And screw over the poor.
Nothing changes.
Nothing
changes, and that really kind of formed a lot of my. Well, I don't know if I really internalized it at that point. It was disappointing, but it's like, well, I guess that's just how Washington is. But then over and over and over, you keep voting and you keep voting and you keep voting, and it's the same bullshit every time. People get into office and suddenly become a millionaire, suddenly become out of touch.
Oh yeah, they all become millionaires if they stay in long enough.
They do, and isn't that gross?
Yeah, how does that happen? I wonder, because they're on committees that regulate Wall Street companies.
That has a lot to do with it.
Insider trading.
Yeah, and that's both sides. That's both sides. And it's another thing.
Oh, of course, they all do it. They all do it. Well, when Nancy Pelosi was questioned about that sort of stuff in the last, I don't know, few years, she always dodges it. Every time. It's basically saying, hey, if you're going to be in Congress, then or the Senate, you have to recuse yourself. You have to get rid of all your investments.
Or at least put it in a blind trust.
Yeah, put it in a blind trust.
At minimum.
Yeah, and you can't all of a sudden find out later, that your wife somehow had a hot tip, or your husband had somehow or your uncle or your nephew or somebody, because
it's not a coincidence that I can't remember the list. You've seen the list, right? It's like 100 and something elected officials that all beat the market.
Oh, I did not see that list. I haven't even heard of it.
By a lot.
Wow.
I should find it and put it on the screen.
Do it. Nice.
I can't see the names.
I can't either.
Why is it so shitty?
It's really fuzzy.
Okay, I'm going to try something else here.
It's called user error.
It's called not being prepared to discuss this.
That's okay. This is just our first show. This is our inaugural show.
It is our inaugural.
Yeah. Inaugural.
Happy
That's
Inauguration Day.
a heck of a word. Yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. Jesus.
Okay, so the first one on the list is Patrick Fallon. And so the percentage in those bars, returns calculated using closest buy and sale dates.
What is
or unrealized returns of never sold trades made in 2022?
What's the legend
members of Congress
say for the colors?
members of Congress that beat SPY in 2022. What is SPY? That's just like the market,
Standard and Poor's.
Okay. Yeah. So you're the stock guy, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Patrick Fallon guy, whoever the fuck he is,
yeah,
he beat the SPY by 51.6%.
Yeah, I wonder what committees he's on. Look that up.
Yeah, and then Debbie Schultz. We know who she is.
I know the name, but who is she?
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh, Wasserman. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one that torpedoed Bernie.
Yep.
50.8%.
What is the color code?
She's corrupt as hell. The color code is their party.
Oh, okay. What's yellow? Independent?
Yellow is the SPY.
Oh, that's the SPY. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. So y'all did fucking better than the SPY.
That's all these members of Congress.
Jesus.
All managed to beat the market somehow.
Yeah, our whole system is corrupt from top to bottom, it feels like a lot of times. Even though I will get behind the Democratic, whoever they are, because I'm I still love my country. I think it can make it, maybe, but if it can't, you know what? I'm not afraid of leaving. I know people that have left.
Yeah. Well, I got behind the Democratic Party this last election. I didn't necessarily like it, but Trump is just such an unhinged fucking asshole.
He's insane.
And I just wanted the insanity to stop.
Yeah, but it's not going to. We've got it for the next 4 years.
I know.
Every day. Remember last time? Every day. And from the get-go. Remember the Arab, whatever they called it, ban? Every airport in the country was fucked for like a whole weekend. They started it like on a Friday into the weekend.
Well, and these assholes don't have guardrails this time.
None.
There's no guardrails in the courts. There's no guardrails in Congress.
The only guardrails are the institutions themselves and the slow walking. And luckily, government moves really friggin' slow. So
until it becomes fascist,
and the guardrails of the people. Well,
fascism moves pretty fucking fast.
It certainly can. But we also live in a much different time, and this is a very big country. And there's enough states, I think, that are out there that aren't going to just kowtow to whatever the fuck Trump says to do. There's enough governors, like in my state, and Illinois, and Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and other states that are going to say, no, we're not going to do that.
We've reversed roles here. I'm usually the one trying to, reverse your hysteria and
my hysteria.
You're like, shit, Project 2025, no, and I'm like,
oh, right. Yes, I am.
I'm like, dude, it's fine.
I have been very
like, it's not going to happen, blah, and now I'm like, shit.
I know, right? We have reverse roles. Yeah. You're right. Because I have been. I mean, I pay attention to. I don't know, probably not as much news sources as I should, but I do like Democracy Now!, PBS. I still look at MSNBC, but not Joe Scarborough anymore.
Yeah, right.
But, like Rachel Maddow, and I really like Joy Reid and a couple other people. But
see, we're going to diverge right there.
Yeah, exactly. But I also watch Al Jazeera, too. I like that from time to time when I can find it. You just got to look for it, though. It's out there.
I don't remember. I mean, with the exception of when I'm visiting my parents and Fox News is the constant background. Yeah. I don't remember a time recently in recent years where I've watched any, by choice, corporate news on purpose. I mean, you have to be careful these days, too, with independent because most of it's not really that independent.
What's your go-to?
My go-to is I like to listen to Hassan Piker on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. He's been getting a lot of play lately, it seems like.
Well, he's awesome. That's why.
He's great. Yeah.
I really like Kyle Kalinske. I got into Kyle Kalinske back in 2015.
I like him, but I'm not into him.
He's like my favorite. Breaking Points.
I like Francesca Porcino.
She's awesome. Her network, and I'll get back to that. Her network's a little bit
kicks
problematic
ass
right now.
Oh, really? Is she working for TYT?
Yeah, she's on TYT. But
she's been actually Anna and Jank.
She's been actually turned really. I know it's gross, but Francesca's actually she's actually spoken out against it, and she works there, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's good to see. But I wonder if they're going to keep her on. Some people think they're going to stay going, but that's a whole other topic. We'll keep going. Who else do you look at?
Breaking Points is probably the best show.
I don't know that one.
I was telling you about this one the other day. It's Sagar and Crystal Ball. They were on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They were on The Hill for a few years on Rising, and it was awesome. And then they kind of broke off and did their own thing, and it was still equally awesome.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Yeah, pull it up.
Just before I forget.
Pull it up.
Breaking Points. There it is, Crystal and Sagar.
Yeah.
Or Sagar, however you pronounce it. Oh, there they are.
I do not like.
Oh, I know them. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, you know them. You've seen them.
Yeah, I do like them.
And then I don't know. Mike Figueredo, The Humanist Report is pretty good.
The Humanist Report, yeah, he's pretty good.
And then I mean, some of them start trending more bland. I don't know. Like David Pakman is fine.
Oh, I like David Pakman. Yeah.
He just.
What?
I don't know. Maybe news is not supposed to be entertaining, but he just doesn't. Doesn't entertain me.
He doesn't do it for you, yeah. That's how I kind of feel about Kyle.
So yeah, I grew up.
Although I don't think David entertains me either. But.
I grew up Mormon, and Pakman reminds me of like the stodgy, like Mormon men that are kind of, I don't know, a little bit mansplainy. And he's also more. He's not as left as I am. Not to say that I can't listen to news. That's not an echo chamber, but.
Yeah, but these are all definitely progressive newscasters. Have you heard of Ground News, the app?
Oh, yeah. So I heard
everyone's advertising it now. Speaking of which, Ground News, if you need a new advertiser.
We're doing.
I don't have it, but it looks pretty cool because it ranks all the different news things from right to left and who's the most centered. And consistently you see PBS and Democracy Now! In the center.
I only know about Ground News because Some More News. You know Some More News? Cody Shoddy.
Like the campfire food? S'mores news?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the show I'm talking about? Some More News.
No.
Cody's.
Oh no, I do. The guy with the tie that never.
The guy with the tie and
crazy.
His hair's disheveled.
It's got a blue background.
I've heard him do. I've heard him do ads for Ground News. That's where I've heard about that.
It's too long for me. I can't.
I know, but they're really good deep dives, and he's funny.
Oh, I know. I know they are. I like John Oliver though. Too.
John Oliver's good.
He does a good deep dive for what he has, but you can't. He probably doesn't go as deep as the aforementioned show.
You know, the first one that I really got into back in 2016 when I was first going down the progressive pipeline, because I'd been on board with Obama for the second term and whatever, because I'd kind of morphed away from the Republicanism during that, but Obama was just across the board disappointing, and. The Bernie thing was happening, and
oh shit!
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Oh, my camera! I just got a slight adjustment.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Slight adjustment.
I'll wait.
Okay. Here we go. There it is. Yeah. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. It was not tight enough, obviously. But I was just going to do something real quick.
Okay.
A little fine tuning, because your head is, I want to put the camera above your head.
Okay.
So I'm looking straight in the camera, which makes it look, like I'm looking at you and the viewer. Oh, shit. You don't need that, though.
And viewers like you.
And viewers like you.
What was I talking about? I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about.
You were talking about, I don't remember.
God. Oh, I was talking. No, I remember now.
Okay.
We can resume whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Resume.
Okay, so what I was saying.
Bring it, girl.
before
our technical mishap.
our technical our wardrobe malfunction.
Just a few technical
this
problems,
is a
folks.
wardrobe malfunction. I'm kidding.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
It's all fine here. No, back during the Bernie thing, and I first started going down the rabbit hole. The first creator that I came across and that I started watching was Jimmy Dore.
Oh, Jimmy Dore, back when he was liberal.
Yeah. And Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske I found shortly after that. And this is back when Kyle was in a dark room with like some random bookshelves behind him. Like not nearly what he is now.
Early days.
Early
just
days.
Just like us.
Well, I think he's been doing it since 2012. So he'd been at it for like 4 years, but definitely he looked a lot younger too.
Oh, he's a young fella.
But yeah, Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy Dore. And it's so disappointing to see what's happened to him.
He turned into a lunatic.
Well, they all go down that rabbit hole because that's where the money is.
Well, see, yeah, that's it. I think they get greedy.
Yeah.
And because TYT, they got like $25 million funding from, they didn't say who.
Well, they got money from Katzenberg.
Is that who it was?
They got $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg.
$20 million, okay. I didn't know it was him. I just knew at the time I heard about it, but they didn't mention his name then.
Now they've named their studio after some fucking betting app or some crypto shit, Polymarket.
Really?
Yeah, they go on air and they're like live from the Polymarket studio.
Oh my God.
I don't know how they do it with a straight face. I'd be embarrassed to say it. But yeah, that's what TYT is now.
Well, they've justified it.
Did you see any? Did you see? We should do a reaction video to this. But did you see any of Anna Kasparian's interview with Glenn Beck?
Oh no!
It was absolutely fucking nauseating, and I don't know whether to tell you to go watch it or if we just virgin watch it. Well, I've already seen it, but we react to it, and you can just like raw dog it, and I'll and we can kind of react.
Hey, watch the language. This is a kids show. This is a family show.
This is not a fucking kids show.
Raw dog it.
So what do you think? I mean, what's the future looking like, right? So we've got this election.
Pretty dark.
Well, right? That's kind of how I feel. We've got this election that just happened.
Yep.
And these fucking assholes just won.
Project 2025.
It was pretty decisive. There's no opposition with any power at this point. And not only that, imagine being a marginalized person in this country, right?
Yep.
And the one side that was marginally speaking for you upon losing the election immediately throws the marginalized people under the bus.
Right. You didn't do it for us.
It's your fault, immigrants.
What I'm disappointed, but I am disappointed in a certain segment of the American public, the people that didn't even vote. They didn't even try to vote. I mean, I understand they've got their reasons, whatever they may be, but it's still, to me personally, it's disappointing because
turnout's actually been pretty high the last few.
I know it is, but there were fucking 15 million people that didn't even vote.
Do you remember back in like the 80s and 90s though, and it was like a big crisis? That turnout was always so terrible.
Yeah, like nobody gave a shit. Yeah, because they didn't have anything to worry about. We didn't have anything to worry about back then in general. I mean, it was the same old grift, but at least they kept most people safe. But now I blame it all on Reagan. I blame much of it on Reagan.
It's a big problem. He was my hero growing up, and
I mean, I grew up thinking he was the cat's ass. Sure,
I got that one wrong.
Yeah,
sorry.
I didn't know. What did I know? Jesus,
nothing. That's what you know.
I knew nothing. I didn't know nothing. And when I told my friend Scott, who I'm going on this trip with back in the day, that I voted for Bush the first time I ever voted, he was like, "What?" Because he's a hardcore liberal, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like everybody else was doing it, so it seemed like he's like, Jesus." So that was probably the first time I really started to think about it, the seeds. But I didn't get into it because I was a frat boy, party boy, having way too much fun. I wasn't big into. I didn't worry about healthcare or any of that stuff. When you grow up a bit and.
Well, back then, healthcare wasn't as much of a crisis as it is now. It didn't cost as much.
No,
it was not.
And also, they didn't pay as much into advertising or pay as much to their CEOs right now.
They couldn't. Did you know, like, before the Nixon administration, it was illegal to have a for-profit healthcare system in this country?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the 90s that they legalized pharmaceutical companies advertising
I did not know that.
direct to people. They couldn't even do that at all. And what the hell even is that? Like,
It's
feel
capitalism run amok.
Yeah,
There's a whole other topic right there. Late stage capitalism.
I know. Well, it's a healthcare system that's not about healthcare. It's about money.
Yeah, they don't care about your
I
health.
mean, this kind of
payments.
brings me back to. I mean, if we're going to go full circle with my evolution here, my ideology is not even an ideology. I just want a stable society.
Yeah.
I want a stable society where as many people as possible live happy, productive, fulfilling lives.
Yep.
And
however, whatever I
want to attain that in an ethical way.
Yes.
And I don't give a shit which party brings that about. That's the society that I want to live in. And I think society should be the goal, like for all of us, right? Because we all live here. Exactly. That's the fucking purpose of government.
You don't care which party is going to do it, but
is to create a society. But they've got people treating politics like.
But there's one party that's probably going to do it more so than the other party.
Maybe.
You're going to get more. Who did the economic shit?
Listen, let's get into
legislatively, the most legislatively, what do you call it, successful president we've ever had.
Biden
more than FDR.
Yeah, as far as labor goes, Biden was pretty good.
I will give him the CHIPS Act and all that stuff, and now that all these states, red and blue, are starting to see the benefits of that as it starts to roll out, government moves slow. The bill passed last year. The shit's coming out now.
Yeah.
Here's the hypocrisy of the Republicans is they're telling their constituents, look at all this money I brought in. No, they didn't bring it in. They voted against the bill. They didn't want it.
Well, there's no ethics in politics. There's not even any shame and hypocrisy anymore. Like, they just do it brazenly and openly. The best example of it is when Obama.
Well, I still have more faith in the Democratic Party than I do but now I don't put all my faith in them, but I think they're better for the people than Republicans. Republicans just don't even give a fuck. They lie to your face. Look at groceries. Groceries aren't going to come down. Oh, once prices go up, is what he said. Once they're up, it's hard to get them back down again. He walked that back really fucking quick.
Yeah, of course. It's like me back in 1994 wondering why Newt Gingrich didn't do any of the shit he said he was going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what all these people that voted for Trump are going to be like, well, shit.
And people with kids with the, what do you call it, the child tax credit, that's gone. Mm-hmm. That'll soon be gone.
And here's the thing. Here's kind of the big thing.
It's the whole fuck around and find out, the hashtag FAFO.
Trump kind of exposed himself. I think it was today. He didn't expose himself, but thank God. But
would you like to come to the mushroom forest?
Gross. An orange tint.
Oh my God. That's get that out of my head.
Oh my God. I don't even remember what I was saying now.
You were saying he exposed himself today.
Oh, yeah. So he was in a press conference and somebody asked him about the United Healthcare thing.
Yeah.
And all he could do was condemn the shoot. Of course, like no one's going to endorse murder on the street, right? That is the very definition of not a stable society. So yeah, I'm against that too. But what he didn't
against murder, yeah.
What he didn't do is say a single word about healthcare.
Oh, no.
Not a single word.
I believe it. Yeah.
He was sympathetic towards the victim, but had nothing to say about the underlying cause. Had nothing to say about the healthcare system. Right. And I mean, there you go, Mr. Populist.
I think you could say that about most of corporate media as well. They just talk about the murder. They don't talk about the reasons. They say, "Why did it happen? Why the fuck do you think it would happen?" Because why do you think everyone in this country doesn't give a shit that he was murdered? Because we all have faced the dilemma of dealing with the healthcare system.
And where's the stories about the tens of thousands of people that die every year because they don't have healthcare? Exactly. Or the tens of thousands of people that die because they don't have their healthcare covered, because they get denied, or, I don't know. Those people's lives were important too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know. It just shows you that the establishment exists to protect capital, whether it's the
Yes.
police, whether it's
Yes.
the government, whether it's even the corporate media exists to protect capital.
To
It
protect and
doesn't,
serve. To
yeah. I
protect
mean,
property and serve the rich.
hmm
That's what that means of a
and
cop
to
card.
keep us all in line.
Exactly. Get in line.
They're
Biatch.
gonna be knocking on our doors
That's
tonight.
right.
After this, they're listening in on my
The
Alexa.
stormtroopers. That's right. Luckily, my Google is not plugged in right now. Well, it's plugged in, but it's we got a new service for internet, which is faster. Which I'm so glad because she got it like 2 weeks before we started doing this. So that
Oh,
means there's going to
nice.
be no problems.
That's good
I think.
timing.
I hope.
That's good
Yeah,
timing.
that is good timing. So, but I haven't hooked up. I got to go on the app on my phone, and then I got to tell my little speaker here uh, that it needs to, log into this other thing. I don't know. I'll figure it
Yeah.
out at some point because I like the biggest thing I like doing. One of the main things I use it. I mean, I'll ask it all kinds of questions if I got a question. If I don't feel like looking it up, but in the morning before I head to work, hey Google. Oh, she's talking now.
You
Well,
woke her up. She was
I
taking a
know.
nap.
Damn it. I say that, and then I say, "What's the forecast today?" And what's the temperature right now? Then get ready for my day. Or if I remember the night before, I'll ask it the night before.
You were
So
all in with the robot revolution. You were all
I'm
over the AI, and
in general, yeah. I
you're gonna
embrace
be you're gonna be
technology.
you're gonna be first in line to get the implant, the brain implant.
I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. No
Yeah,
way.
that sounds
Uh,
a little much.
I prefer to be disconnected from the mind hive. This is
Yeah.
this is the only mind hive I want is the internet. We can barely deal with that as a society and
I
as a
know.
civilization. We that's the thing about humans is our technology always outpaces our ability to understand it and deal with it rationally and responsibly. Every time we've had some new crazy technology, radio, television, movies, whatever, the automobile, everything, it's like there's an explosion of just craziness. People that are like, holy shit, and they just take it to the extreme, and without understanding what we're getting into.
Yeah.
And we especially don't understand the internet and all of this and social media and all the manipulation that we've seen, especially politically. I mean, that's my opinion. We move too fast for our own good
It's a powerful tool.
as human
And
beings.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't think most people understand it. Just like in the 80s and 70s when we were growing up, people didn't understand the power of media and TV. Like
Yep.
that first debate between Nixon and Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Nixon had no concept of the optics of the
Nope.
thing. He was
He was a
sweaty. He was
sweaty, nasty old man.
yeah, and it just hadn't occurred to anyone. And I mean, even go into the 80s with MTV, look at the bands from the 70s. They were ugly
Yeah.
as hell, beards and just kind of crusty. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
What
I mean,
bands are you thinking of?
we're
When you
both
say
deadhead.
'80s, I'm thinking hair bands.
We're both deadheads here. But no,
Oh yeah.
no, I'm talking about 70s bands, like,
Oh
Like
yeah.
Styx or Boston or
Right.
any of those from that era, even Led Zeppelin, they weren't like putting a great deal of effort into like their TV personas, right? And they were
No.
kind of supplanted by the groups in the 80s that did that because music became about MTV and about videos and
Yeah.
whatever.
And
And so a
production
few
and
people understood it and some didn't.
image.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Very
kind of
much
gross,
focused on
but
image. Yeah. In the '80s. And then the '90s, I really didn't pay attention.
oh, into the 90s is
Late
when
'80s and '90s. I was out in
I
Yellowstone.
was in, yeah, 90s, I was in high school. That was like the grunge
Yeah.
revolution. I was too
Oh yeah.
busy trying to keep hair bands alive.
Uh,
I never got into the grunge that much.
Hair bands. Yeah.
I've acquired a taste for a lot of it later in
Yeah.
life as I've
Sure.
gotten to be older, but I was all in with the hair bands in the 90s.
Man.
Yeah, nice.
Back in the
Um,
90s. Yes.
I don't think we came all the way full circle on my my ideology. So maybe let's circle back on
let's
that,
go.
and
Bring it back.
let's circle back on that, and then we're at an hour and 17 minutes. We could probably call it soon.
Yeah, let's circle back and then maybe touch on a couple of items.
Yeah,
maybe not delve too deep, but this is an intro, so.
I know, and I like it. I like the conversation.
I like it too.
Just kind of,
I like our tangents we've gone off on.
This is what I want it to be, right? This is fantastic. Obviously we'll get more comfortable and
yeah. I'm super comfortable just talking because this is like a regular conversation between you and me, in general.
For sure.
Except that we are formatting.
I feel like I'm being a little more reserved than even what I would be at work.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna have to work through that.
Even more than at work.
Yeah, I'm a bitch at work.
Okay. Well, no, you seem pretty open. In this format, as long as you can. Of course, we have the microphones and the headphones and the camera, and we're looking at each other. But once I feel like, I don't know. I'm comfortable. I feel very comfortable.
Okay.
In general, talking to you, and I don't feel like.
Yeah, no,
there's a bunch of eyes on us because, of course, there's not going to be any eyes on us for a long time.
There's that in the back of my mind, and I'm sure it's in the back of your mind too, because we're obviously not just recording this for each other,
right?
But it is just a normal conversation between us.
Exactly.
And this is like what a normal phone call between us is like.
Right. For the most part, exactly.
For the most part, but we do have that in the back of our mind, like this is for an audience.
And I'm definitely going to be self-conscious once I watch it.
Oh my God, I'm so dreading watching this and editing it.
It's gonna be rough.
Oh,
that's probably gonna be the hardest part, I think.
Sweet Jesus, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
But you just gotta ignore that crap.
I'm giving away my location.
Oh, don't do it. What's the?
I'm not doing it. I've leaned over a bunch of times during this.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
No biggie.
But
we just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. I feel really good about it tonight. Keep
swimming.
When we did the one the other night, I was like, I don't know about this.
But I was not ready for that.
Of course, that's how it was gonna be because neither of us have ever done this before.
We're easing into it.
We are.
We did a little trial the other night that didn't quite work out. Tonight, boom, we're on.
Yeah. But we wouldn't have been able to do it tonight. This is obviously way better than the first time. And we wouldn't have been able to do it tonight better if we hadn't done it shitty the first time.
Exactly.
So it'll come with time.
Takes practice, exactly. It takes practice.
But yeah, let's circle back to kind of my not ideology, I guess.
Your what ideology?
My not ideology. I don't really have an ideology. That's the thing.
Oh.
My ideology is a stable society. That's what I want. And by stable society, I mean equality of opportunity, not necessarily equality of results.
Right.
But equality of opportunity means everyone has healthcare. Everyone has equal education. We don't have schools that are funded differently based on how rich the neighborhood is, right?
Exactly.
Like, how much talent are we losing? Like, how much potential is out there in people that are just struggling to eat and to
survive?
Just to survive. Yeah. We don't get to develop that talent in our society, and we're missing out on it. So I want those people to participate and to feel like they're part of society.
Yeah.
And
I concur.
Yeah, I want people to be able to see the world, experience the world, do things out of.
I want high-speed rail.
Well, we're getting that here. Don't know about Colorado, but LA to Vegas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting.
And then there might be one from LA to San Fran.
Yeah. No, but I was just in London.
And one in Texas too. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Well, and transportation is a big part of a stable society because people need to be able to get around and breathe clean air and whatever else. But so I was in London back in October, and I feel like everyone in America should go over there and experience the public transportation there. It's amazing. My son put it the best way. He said the tube is completely egalitarian. Because there's no faster way to get around that city. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I don't give a shit if you have a helicopter, if you have a limo, whatever the fuck you've got, it's gonna be slower than the tube. There's a train every 1 to 2 minutes. You can get anywhere you need to go in that city. And Americans sitting in traffic in LA or Vegas or Chicago or Atlanta, wherever the fuck. New York, After participating in the public transportation over there, you should feel like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Sitting in traffic here because it's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to line the pockets of the oil companies and the car companies. That's why we have the system we have. That's why we have ugly cities that are designed around cars.
Yeah, we're designed around cars instead of people.
I'm getting off on a tangent, but that also, livable, walkable cities is part of having a stable society.
Yep.
A society where if you are working full time, you can afford to buy a house. You can afford to have a family. You can afford to take a vacation, experience the world, see what this fucking place has to offer because it's awesome.
Yep. That's what I grew up with until.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, I don't know until the early '80s. I wonder why. My mom had to go to work in the early '80s.
Not naming any names, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan, motherfucker. The more I learn about him, the more I. Hate him.
Well, and so this brings me to the whole bootstraps argument, right?
Oh yeah, lift yourself up by your bootstraps.
Just if you just work hard.
Yeah, all you got to do is work hard. It doesn't matter what you came from.
Here's what I say.
What your education level is.
Yeah, and what hole you started in, right? Healthcare wise, income wise, education wise, everything else.
Rich but okay,
just in theory, we'll give the Ben Shapiro's of the world. Okay, so everybody does every single person does what you say. What happens?
Yeah.
We still live in an economy that requires poverty. Our economy grades on a curve.
Exactly.
So if every single person works harder and gets more education and does all the shit that assholes like Ben Shapiro say that they should do to have a better life, if every fucking person does that, there's still this percentage of people over here that have to live in fucking poverty or our economy doesn't work.
Exactly.
And that's
the way the system works.
Yeah, but that's not a stable society. When you have poverty and when you have people that feel like they're cut off from society and like they're not members of society and like they don't matter and society doesn't care about them, those people are going to lash out, right?
Now you're opening up the whole homeless can of worms.
Well, homeless.
Not in my backyard.
I'm talking about homeless. I'm talking about mass shootings. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about people that feel like they are not part of society. They're not welcome. They're not members of society. They're not participating in society. They're completely cut off.
Yes, people have purpose in the society.
Yeah, and not every single one of them is going to lash out. But when you have millions of people out there that feel desperate and hopeless and like they're not part of this system that's fucking them over, they're going to lash out. They're going to start.
They got nothing to lose.
That's what I mean. Everyone needs to have something to lose. Everyone needs to feel like they have a stake in this.
Like they have a stake in a piece of ownership in this country.
Yeah, and if
there used to be civic stuff, and there's this book a guy wrote recently. I just learned about him. I can't think of his name, but I'll figure out who he is for next time. He wrote a book about something about bowling is in the name, but basically it's about the social. And he's been talking about this for years. In fact, he has consulted with presidents and all kinds of stuff like that. But I think Bill Clinton was the one who he worked with. Yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah. There's a whole can of worms too. But no, this guy is talking about the whole bowling scenario was, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, post World War II up until Reagan, once again, we used to have like bowling leagues and softball leagues, and I mean there still are some of that around the country, but it was like
Lions clubs and Rotary clubs.
Yeah, it was so prevalent. It was everywhere. Like, and people engaged in civic activities and were part of local politics. People went to, town hall meetings and all that kind of stuff, local government, and became involved. And everybody kind of knew it, but at least in smaller towns, maybe not as much big towns, but people were more engaged together. And we don't have that kind of cohesion anymore. And especially with, he was talking about the, advent of modern media in the 70s and 80s. And then why go out when I can just stay home and watch this really fun show? Ideas like that where, and then slowly but surely over the years, now we got the internet. It's people just don't do that sort of stuff anymore at all. There's no cohesion in our society. Everyone's got their own little specialized thing they like, and
this can all be traced back to Reagan.
Not
just Reagan, but
not just Reagan, but a lot of other factors.
That whole movement is very flavored
because we grew up with 3 channels basically, plus PBS. The poor redheaded stepchild.
I had basic cable in the early 80s.
Well, screw you. We didn't have that in the 70s
adopter.
or
yeah,
the 80s.
We had like 15 channels.
Well, the world I grew up in had 3 channels basically, and they were all on the same page pretty much. You know, you got and that was the whole nation. Everybody was on the same level and the same mindset and the same zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it. But now everybody's got their own little niche. You know, you're either Fox News or you're MSNBC,
because the algorithms,
like us, the algorithms, they see what you like and they just keep giving you more of it.
Yeah, they put everyone in a silo. They put everyone into an echo chamber, and you go from there. But also, I mean, even going back before social media, you have the whole Reagan Revolution and all of those people that came with that and permeated the government are very flavored by the Ayn Rand.
That crazy bitch.
Objectivism mind virus. Yeah. And so, I mean, you go back to Eisenhower, and he was commenting on these people, and he basically called them idiots.
Yeah.
That wanted to cut Social Security and do all this stuff, but these people are the majority now.
Oh yeah.
They permeate every aspect of government, every aspect of, public life and philosophy and whatever. Everyone has adopted the attitude of I got mine, fuck everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is the opposite of a stable society.
In the words of Gordon Gekko, greed is good.
Well, it's not a society that wants to solve problems. And this is another thing I don't understand. Like, I've worked in semiconductor. I've worked in
in healthcare. We're a consumerism. We're a consumerism society.
I know, but we go to work, right? And I've worked in these sectors where
excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Where to be successful, you have to identify best practices.
Yeah.
And when something goes wrong,
it's the same way where I'm working.
You do a postmortem on that, and you find out what the root causes were, and you come up with real fucking solutions.
Yeah.
To solve the problems. Nobody in government wants to do that. No one in either party wants to do that, because it's not about solving problems. It's about marketing one team or the other to claim power. But no, that's kind of where I come from politically, and I honestly, a lot of it takes me more into the leftist realm.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where most of the solutions to the problems are. And if you look at where
the
billionaires and the power and the owner class really is really afraid, it's of the left. They're afraid of the Bernie Sanders left.
Oh yeah.
Because we're the ones that actually want to solve the problems, create a stable society, and basically
that's not going to benefit them.
No, it's going to throw them off the gravy train.
We're in the new Gilded Age.
They don't want that. We are in the new Gilded Age. We have been for a while.
Yeah, we have been for a while.
I know. But on that note.
Yep.